So, Passover is just around the corner, and for a lot of us, that means one thing: the big purge, the clean out. But this is so much more than just spring cleaning. Today, we're going to dive deep into the spiritual meaning behind this ancient command to get rid of leaven.
And, it really boils down to this one question, doesn't it? In a world with so many huge problems, why does the Most High, why does Yahweh, care about something so tiny, so microscopic as the yeast in our pantry? Well, the answer is way more powerful than you might think. And it tells us a ton about sin, redemption, and being ready for the King.
To really get to the bottom of this, we're going to look at it from 5 different angles. We'll start with the command itself, then unpack what it symbolizes. From there, we'll see how it ties into redemption, how it becomes a kind of spiritual search, and finally, how we're actually rehearsing for the kingdom to come. Okay, first things first, where does this whole practice even come from? And this is so important, right? We have to understand that this isn't just some tradition that people made up. This is a foundational instruction, a direct command from Yahweh. And here it is, right out of the Torah in Exodus chapter 12. This right here, this is ground zero. It's the verse that establishes the whole thing. The act of removing leaven is rooted in our obedience to a very specific divine instruction that he gave his people as they were getting ready for freedom. So we've covered the why we do it, because Yahweh told us to. Now let's get into the what. What in the world does leaven actually represent throughout the scriptures? And this is where the physical act starts to get really deep spiritually. Okay, so just look at the contrast here. It's so stark. Leaven gets into the dough, it inflates it with air, and it makes it look way bigger and more substantial than it actually is. It's an illusion. And spiritually, that's a perfect picture of pride, of hypocrisy. But on the flip side, you have unleavened bread, or matzah. It's flat, it's simple, it's honest. It represents humility, sincerity, and truth. And make no mistake, this is not just an Old Testament idea. Yashua himself uses this exact same imagery. When he warned his disciples to beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, he wasn't giving them baking advice. No way. He was pointing right at their hypocrisy, their prideful legalism, the spiritual hot air that puffed them up. So here's the bottom line, the real takeaway from this part. When we physically go through our homes and remove leaven, we're actually doing something prophetic. We are symbolically deflating our own egos. We're asking Yahweh to get the pride, get the hypocrisy out of our hearts, and bring us back down to earth, to a place of humility before him. But wait, there's more. It's not just about sin and pride. The symbolism doesn't stop there. There's another layer here, one that talks about urgency and being ready, and it speaks to the very heart of our redemption. Okay, let's paint the picture. Go all the way back to the Exodus. Our ancestors were slaves. When the call came to leave, it was sudden. There was no time to sit around and wait for the dough to rise. They had to grab what they had and move, right now. Eating unleavened bread every year is a physical gut check, a reminder of that haste. It's about having a spirit that's ready to go the second the king calls, without being weighed down by all the delays of this world, our own personal Egypt. And this is where the Apostle Paul just connects all the dots for us, for believers in Yeshua. He tells the Corinthians to purge the old leaven so they can become a new lump. For us today, that old leaven is all the malice and wickedness from our past lives. He's saying we're called to celebrate this feast not with all that junk, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. All right, this next part, for me, this is one of the most powerful aspects of the whole thing. We've talked about the what and the why, so now let's look at the how. How this physical scrubbing and cleaning becomes this incredibly profound spiritual discipline. Traditionally, that final search for any leftover leavens or chametz is done at night with a candle. And it's such a beautiful picture of what we're supposed to be doing spiritually. Think about it. Just like that tiny flame illuminates the darkest corners of your kitchen, the word of Yahweh acts as a lamp, shining its light into all the hidden, dusty places of our hearts. See what's happening here, right? As you're on your hands and knees, looking for that last crumb under the sofa, it's supposed to make you ask these deeper questions. What hidden sins have I just let settle in my life? What little crumbs of bitterness or gossip am I tolerating? The physical search becomes a mirror for our spiritual sanctification. And that brings us to our final point. And it's a big one. This entire act, this whole process,
It's all forward-looking. It's not just about remembering what happened in the past. It's about getting ready for the future. It's an act of faith. It's a rehearsal. See, the feasts in Hebrew are called a Mikrah, which literally means a rehearsal, an appointed time to practice for a future event. We're not doing this to earn our salvation. That's a done deal. The Passover lamb, Yashua, already paid that price in full. We do this out of love and obedience to practice, to prepare, to rehearse for that amazing day when he returns and removes all lawlessness, all the leaven, from this world for good. And just think about what a statement this is. In a world that is so puffed up with pride and sin and hypocrisy, a home that has been intentionally, painstakingly cleaned of all leaven, it becomes a little beacon of light. It's a physical declaration that says, we serve a holy Elohim, and we are eagerly waiting for his clean and holy kingdom. So I guess this is the question I want to leave you with. As you scrub and you sweep and you search your physical home this year, please don't let it just be a physical chore. Keep asking yourself this question: what corner of my heart is Yah asking me to purge? Because that is where the real work happens, and that is where the real peace is found.